your overall budget, and our research. Hey everyone, and welcome to my channel. I'm Nikki. In today's video, I'm just gonna be going over a lot of the basics to the WW program. I receive so many questions just even about like the different color plans and what they mean, or how I track certain foods, because there's so many different ways to track things. Everybody's experience is different with WW, but we're just gonna go over some of like the basics to the WW plan. Maybe you'll learn some things that you didn't know about the app. I'm gonna go into some details about how I track things in the app, and yeah, hopefully you find some helpful tips. So go ahead and give this video a like and subscribe to my channel if you enjoy it, and let's go ahead and get started with the basics of WW. Everything I'm going to be sharing is just going to be from my personal experience, but when you sign up, I just did the app version, so the digital. You sign up, you take an assessment, you're assigned daily smart points and weeklies, and pretty much then you just have to figure it out from there. So when I first started, I was assigned the blue plan, and I want to say I was assigned 38 smart points. And Adam was also assigned the blue plan, but he was assigned like 58 smart points. So right off the bat, I was like, what's going on here? We have to figure this out, because I like doing the cooking. How am I gonna incorporate enough points so that I don't go over, but that he's getting enough in the day? So that was a challenge in the beginning. But anyway, going into more detail about why that happened. So your daily points are assigned to you based on your age, your weight, your height, and your sex. So obviously Adam's taller than me. He weighs more than me, he's a male, so many different things that would up the amount of points that he needs in a day versus what I would need in a day to lose weight. So that explained that there. So just going over the basics of the plans, there is the blue plan, the green plan, and the purple plan. So I've been on the blue plan from the beginning, and it has just been the best for me. I don't think either of the other plans really would suit my diet and how I like to cook. There's the green plan, which is technically you get more smart points in a day and you get fewer 0-point foods. So your list of 0-point foods is 100 plus. Then the blue plan is supposed to be moderate smart points and moderate 0 points. So you get a list of 200 0-point foods and then a moderate amount of smart points. And then the purple plan is where you get fewer smart points and then you get a 300 plus 0-point food list. So plenty more 0-point foods. That includes like a lot of different carbs and like potatoes, stuff like that. So technically the green plan, they say, is meant for people who aren't doing as much cooking, who like to enjoy more just like fruits and vegetables, because you get more smart points in a day. So you're having to track more foods. That's why you get less 0-point foods. Whereas the purple plan, you're getting fewer smart points in a day, but you have to track way less. So if tracking is also a problem for you, that could be something that works better. Personally, like I said, I don't have experience with the purple and green plan, but I have found that the blue is just such a perfect balance for my lifestyle and what has worked for us. Along with your daily smart points, you also get a set of weekly smart points. So when you go into the WW app, right in the beginning, you have your, and today's Tuesday, so today's actually my weigh-in day, so it's the beginning of the week for me. So you'll see the dot is on the T for Tuesday, and then I have 24 daily points every single day, and I start the week with 42 weekly points. So I haven't tracked anything for the day yet, but I will. So like I said, in the beginning, I started with I think 38 daily points, and now I'm down to 24. So as you lose the weight, you start to get fewer and fewer daily smart points, which makes sense. You're eating less calories because you are required to eat less. So that is how your daily smart points are decided and how they change throughout your journey. Then the weeklies. So say I don't use all 24 of my daily smart points for the day. Say I only use 20. Up to 4 daily points a day can roll over into your weeklies. So technically, say I didn't use my 24 points. I just used 20 points today. Then this 42 tomorrow would switch to a 46 because I got 4 rollover points. The max you can get for a day is 4 rollover points. So say I used 22, then 2 would roll over to the next day. So you do get to build up your weekly points if you don't use them all on dailies. Every day is different. Some days I find I'm not using all my dailies. Some days I'm going over and using my weeklies. So it just depends what works for you. Me personally, I use my weeklies, and this is something that I probably am asked the most out of like WW specific questions, but so many people tell me they're afraid to use their weeklies, and always say use them, because my weeks that I have the best losses are always the weeks that I use all my weeklies. They're always the weeks that I feel full and that I'm drinking a lot of water and my weeklies are taken up. So obviously that might not work for everyone, but it's something worth trying. The weeklies are there for a reason. And I actually, because I was asked this so many times, I just want to say what WW actually has to say about weeklies. And this is just directly from their website. So what they say is, don't be afraid to use your weekly smart points. We've calculated them into your overall budget, and our research shows that using them won't stall your weight loss. In fact, they're a great way to keep things flexible and livable. And I totally agree with that, because I am always using my weeklies when I feel hungry. And that was the thing that I said in the beginning of this journey. I didn't want to feel hungry. So my weeklies are so important to me, because whenever I'm feeling hungry, if I'm over my points, I'm using those weeklies. And like I've said before, I also use weeklies to have like higher point snacks sometimes if I'm just grabbing a few almonds, or my sauces I use in my weeklies kind of mentally. So sometimes I don't always track them in the app, but I know I'm using them. And I've been doing this long enough now, I feel that I kind of know how many weeklies I've used throughout the week. So that's just something I think is really important, because people are so afraid to use them. And honestly, in the beginning, I used them in the beginning, and then I stopped for a little because I was scared. And that's when I kind of saw like a little bit of a dip in my losses. It wasn't what it had been before. So then when I picked back up on eating my weeklies, I really did find improvement. So then just going into detail about how smart points are decided, because some people have asked me that, like, how do you know that these chips are this many smart points, but then these chips are this many smart points? Like, what is it, just calories? So many people really think that smart points just translate to calories, and they don't. So what WW has said is smart points are calculated by, it starts with the baseline of calories, then the points are brought up by saturated fat as well as sugar, and then the amount of protein brings the points a little bit back down. So it kind of balances it out. It is not just based on calories. And I just want to show you guys how you can see this. Going into the WW app, I'm just going to pretend that this barcode for this protein bar doesn't work. So when you go into the app, you want to go into the search bar and you're going to hit calculator. So this is the screen, and this is how you can find out how many smart points some food item is. Now, they just added this, I think, or I don't know if they had it before, but I think it's new, but they just added this button where you can scan nutrition facts, which is so cool, except for the fact that it doesn't always work. But I find if you turn the flash on and then you just scan the bar and take the picture, it will just enter the nutrition facts in there, but sometimes it doesn't read it correctly. So it'll say at the top, we cannot verify some of these fields, so please double check them. So it actually did enter it incorrectly. It said that there were 23 grams of fat instead of 8. So that would be something you'd have to double check. I think they're still working on that, but it's cool. It's worth trying. Anyway, though, that's not what I'm trying to show. What I want to show is that when you come to the calculator, I'm going to enter the information for this protein bar into the app, and I'm going to show you how the number changes. So to start out, it's got 230 calories, and right away it starts out at 7 smart points. So then I'm going to go ahead down and enter the grams of fat, which is 8, and then the saturated fat, which is actually 6. So that right there bumped it up to 9 smart points because of the saturated fat, which again, they state that the saturated fat and the sugar are what bumped the smart point number up. So then I'm going to enter sodium is 130, carbs 23, fiber 3, sugar is only 1, and then added sugar is 0. So still it's at 9 points, but then this entire bar is 20 grams of protein. So you'll see when I enter that it's 20 grams of protein, the bar changes to 7 smart points instead of 9. So it adjusts based on that, because having 20 grams of protein is huge and it's definitely filling. So they want to make this a little bit fewer smart points. So that's kind of how they decide it. That's how it changes when you enter them. Obviously, if I just scanned it right away, it would just say 7 smart points, but I just kind of wanted to give you an idea of how it changes with the different nutrition facts. Another thing I wanted to say is with rollover weeklies, if for some reason you don't want to use your rollovers and you just kind of want to get rid of them if you didn't use them for the day, there is a setting that you can turn off your rollovers. Then another thing I want to mention is fit points. A lot of people ask me about fit points, and I like to track my fit points in the app only for the reason that I like to get some wellness wins. So every time you track an activity, you get 5 wellness wins, and that just keeps adding up to get rewards. So really that's the main reason. I don't ever track my weightlifting, but I do track rollerblading. What I do is you just go into the app and you want to click the activity tab right here, and this will show you. So I haven't done anything yet this week, but I can show you if I wanted to track rollerblading, that's my recent activity. I would just click that and then say I went for an hour, that technically would give me 18 smart points back to eat for the day, which are my fit points, and I could track the activity. And then you also have like a goal. So technically I have a 33 fit point goal for the week, and I'm at 18 out of 33. Okay, so with fit points, you can also go into your settings and turn them off so that they don't transfer as like your smart points that you see you get to eat for the day. So like technically I would be able to eat another 18 smart points if I were to eat the calories that I burned skating, but I don't like to do that. I like my skating to just be an extra activity. When I go to the gym, I don't track that, and I do come home and I have a protein bar that's usually 5 to 7 smart points, and I don't usually track that. So I kind of think my fit points from the workout, I'm just having food because I do need to eat after a workout, and I just don't even bother tracking it. But you can turn your fit points on so that you are actually earning more smart points to eat a day if you would like to. I don't really recommend that just because it's kind of like out of sight, out of mind. It kind of helps to just get that extra activity in and then still just focus on your diet, because in the beginning I just focused on my food and the activity really didn't do anything to help me. And I think that with this journey, it's so important to just learn about your relationship with food. And obviously the activity part is important, but I think that's a lot easier to incorporate after you've really gotten down the important things about portions and like nutritious meals and stuff like that. I think it's important to focus on that before you really incorporate the fitness aspect of it. Really, I don't think it's worth using your fit points, but it's completely up to you. So you can do what you want to do. And then another question I get asked a lot is if you can switch your plans. So honestly, a lot of times people get assigned purple or green and they don't really feel comfortable. They're kind of looking for more of a balance. Like I said, the blue plan is moderate smart points as well as moderate 0-point food. So it really is a good balance. I think most people seem to be on the blue plan, but again, purple works for people and green works for people. It really is what works for you. So it is worth trying it out. I would recommend that you stick with the one that you're assigned for 2 weeks just to get a feel for whether or not it really is working for you. A few days isn't going to help unless you are actually like starving every day or overeating or something, like you realize that it really isn't working for you. I'd really try to stick with the plan for 2 weeks and then decide if you're going to switch. And if you do decide to switch, it's so simple. You just go into the WW app, click on your little picture. You want to hit the settings button up here in the corner. And then right here, all you do is the top thing is food settings. Click in that and you see your plan right there. You can go ahead and change your food plan. And also with this, you are able to change what your daily smart points are and your weekly smart points are. If you wanted to, for some reason, control that, I've just trusted the program and what it's assigned to me, and it's worked well for me. But just so you see as well, this rollover, I have my rollovers turned on, and then swapping. So then you can also turn swapping off. I have my setting to no swapping, which says you're still earning fit points, but you will not be swapping them for food. So you could do that. You could swap with your weeklies, or you could swap with your fit points. So there's 3 different options on there, whatever works for you, but the option's always there. Another important thing to point out, if you are breastfeeding, you need to click this option in your settings. So make sure that you are doing that because you will get a higher number of smart points. Very important that you are doing that. Also, a quick thing I want to point out, because I've had a few people ask about changing your weigh-in day. All you have to do is go into the app and hit weight settings. And then from there, it says your weigh-in day and you can go ahead and update it. Mine's Tuesday. So, okay. So now that we've gone over like the basics of the program, I just wanted to talk about like the color plans, how people are assigned different points and what they mean. I also want to talk about tracking because with WW, everybody tracks things differently. And like I've said so many times, you have to do what works for you. So this is how I personally choose to track these specific things. But again, if you would like to track maybe more or less than what I do, you can do that. It's all what works for you with your lifestyle. So one controversial thing when it comes to WW is smoothies and blended fruit. So a lot of people ask me, like, are smoothies points? Like, do you track the fruit and smart points? Because I've heard that they are points, which honestly, I didn't know about this until like halfway through my journey. According to WW, when you make a smoothie, you are supposed to track the nutrition value. So you would actually have to enter the nutrition for the fruit and it would come up as points and you track the points, even if it is a 0 smart point food on your list with your plan. So technically you would have to track a banana as points because, and their reason is, when you are drinking a smoothie, you are not actually eating, you're not actually chewing the food. So it doesn't really feel as satisfying. It doesn't feel as filling. Now, for me personally, when I make a smoothie, I am full for like hours. I don't know what it is. My protein shakes that I make, which is like a scoop of protein powder, a frozen banana, some frozen berries, maybe a little bit of PB2 and almond milk, and maybe some ice. Like, it's really not much. And I don't track the fruit, which technically I should, but it fills me so much that I just don't even see a point in it. I count it as 0 point foods. It's still fruit and vegetable to me. That's what works for me. If you find that it doesn't fill you and you're just kind of drinking it. Just like how if you just were to drink like a pop, it's mindless, it doesn't fill you. Then I would consider tracking the fruit and vegetables. If your smoothie is just kind of like a drink that you're having. But for me, I like to use smoothies as meals because of how filling they are and how nutritious. So again, personal preference, what works for you. You can track the fruit, you don't have to. According to WW, you are supposed to. I personally don't. So that is how I feel about that. Then another question is, what about fruits and veggies that are roasted and like chickpeas and stuff like that? If they are 0 smart point foods on your plan, then they are 0 smart points. You are still eating them. They aren't losing really the nutritious value. Technically, if you put any sort of like oil on them or anything to roast them, yes, you have to track that, but you don't have to track the vegetable that's roasted. But if it is a dried fruit or vegetable, that is a different story. And this one makes a little more sense for me personally because I do track dry fruits and veggies because of the fact that, and this is the example WW uses, think about if you had like 50 raisins versus 50 grapes. It's so much easier to eat 2 handfuls of raisins, which is going to be like 50 versus 50 grapes. So it's so much more condensed and like not as satisfying. A lot of times dried fruit has added sugar, even if you find one without the added sugar. And with them, their energy density goes up, which means their calories go up. So that is technically why they are more smart points. Something else that people ask me is about 0 smart point foods. And I say all the time that I love to fill up on 0 smart point foods. I love to base my meals around them. So a lot of times I try to find 0 smart point meats because I just like leaner meats. Honestly, I don't feel the best when I eat like red meat. I just don't feel the greatest. So for me personally, turkey and chicken and fish are perfect, and it works that they're 0 smart points. So I like to base my meals around that, but I also like to base it around, like, say I have a zucchini in the fridge that's gonna go bad. That's how I plan my meal around that. And then I just add veggies and other foods to that add the points to it. But anyway, you can eat as many 0 smart point foods as you want and you don't have to track them. So like I said, I'm on the blue plan. I get 200 plus 0 smart point foods, and most of them are fruits and veggies, but then that also includes like eggs and chicken breasts and lean turkey. So there are foods that technically I could just keep eating them and I wouldn't have to track them and they'd be 0 smart points. However, that's not really realistic. I'm not going to sit there and eat 5 bananas in a sitting. It's not realistic that you're going to really eat that many 0 smart point foods that it's going to have an effect on your weight loss journey. It really is all about balance, and you can't sit there and just eat a full carton of eggs. Like, it has to be realistic, but you can fill up more on them because they are such lower point foods. It is encouraged that you fill up on them. They're all so nutrient dense. They fill you. They're high in protein and fiber. And so that is why they are 0 point foods. And that's why you can eat more of them, but there still are calories. So you still will gain weight if you eat 3,000 calories worth of apples in a day. So that's one thing that it's just important to understand, is that yes, you don't have to track 0 point foods. You technically can have as many as you want, but you still have to be mindful about it. I just think it's important to note that 0 smart point foods are still calories. You can still overeat them, but they were technically chosen because they're a lot harder to overeat, and you can still eat a good amount of them while maintaining a weight loss. So that's just something that I want to say about 0 point foods. And then with 0 point foods, I just really quick want to show you on the app, if you go to your front page and you just scroll all the way to the bottom, there's this little menu down here and you can hit 0 point foods, and in there it will just tell you every single 0 point food that you can track. And if you look at top, you can go ahead and click into the different groups. So there's vegetables and fruits, and that just shows you everything. So that's just a good resource to have, is to look at the 0 point food list on the app. And that way, if you were to track them for some reason, you could go ahead and click here and track them. So that was just kind of the basics of how I have used WW in the beginning, how I track certain things, how I use the app. If you guys have anything else you want me to go over with even more in depth about the app, if there's anything else you guys want me to go over with the WW program, my experience with it, please go ahead and leave some questions or comments below in the comment section, and I'd love to get back to you. Thank you guys so much for watching this video. I hope you found something helpful, and I'll see you guys next time. Thanks.